Hey guys, guess what? Hurricanes scored 9 goals against Florida? Oh my gosh. Who knew this would be a weekend of hat tricks, 9 goals against a team? I mean, we'll get to it, but 9 goals against a team that's had our number the entire season, including playoffs in recent years. That's impressive. Again, we'll get to it. But first, as always, great partnership with SeatGeek. You get $20 off your first purchase if you use promo code Caniac Report, all one word. It is a great deal if you're trying to save money on some tickets, whether that is to a comedy show, concert, or a Canes game. We know there's a Canes game coming out today, actually, strange time, 1:30 p.m. It really is a strange time considering not everybody has Martin Luther King Day off, but still, if you think you can go, hey, great opportunity to put in that promo code. Also, another thing too, if you are watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And if you're listening to us to wherever you get your podcast, please leave a rating and a review, and please follow the show. It really, really does help us out. Also, for those of you who do not know, well, you guys probably already know, but Andrew is not going to be on this episode. We had some scheduling conflicts between both of our schedules, so it's just going to be me for this episode, but I'm sure he'll be back for the next one. And also, one more thing I do want to talk about. I realize the audio quality of me talking on the last episode was very bad. I am very sorry for that. Just to give you guys a bit behind the scenes work of how we do the episodes. We run the recording on StreamYard, and sometimes StreamYard doesn't automatically recognize the mic. So when that happens, then it puts the mic that is installed in my computer, and that's when the quality goes pretty bad. So I just want to say very, very sorry. I did not notice it, and I know the last episode wasn't the only time. So again, very, very sorry. If you sat through the last episode in its entirety with all of the bad scratchy noises, good for you, man. Good for you. Whoever is listening, thank you. Have you really listened to that episode? Because I realized that was probably not a pleasant experience listening to the last episode. So, a couple news I want to talk to. I am actually glad I am recording this at 7:30 tonight because about an hour ago we had a major trade that happened, and it is Calgary. They traded Rasmus Anderson. It's like finally they traded him, because so many rumors were tied to Rasmus Anderson getting traded all the way back to last year. And we know Vegas was a team. Vegas and Boston were both the top two teams that were really, really trying to get Rasmus Anderson. Boston obviously lost out on it because he got traded to Vegas. Boston kind of shut down the deal when basically they weren't going to get an extension done in place with Anderson. And Calgary traded Anderson to Vegas. 50% of his contract is retained. But what Calgary gets back is Zach Whitecloud. So probably as like maybe a temporary replacement for Anderson's departure. A 2027 first round pick, a 2028 second round pick, and there's a condition on that. If Vegas wins the Stanley Cup, that upgrades to a 2028 first round pick. And Calgary also gets a prospect in Abram Wybe, I think is how you pronounce his last name. So honestly, the possibility of Vegas giving up 2 first round picks and a prospect to Calgary for Rasmus Anderson, I would say that's pretty good. But and Rasmus Anderson, he's an excellent defenseman. He's an excellent top four defenseman. That's going to help Vegas. Honestly, I think this trade helps both teams. And to be honest, as a Canes fan here, just kind of looking at this trade, I mean, if Anderson was going to get traded, I'd rather him remain out west than in the east. So if it's between Vegas and Boston, I mean, we can complain all that we want about everybody wants to go to Vegas. But as Canes fans, don't we want these big players not to get traded to the east? So with that being said, I'm happy he is staying out west as a Hurricanes fan. Do I like that he's going to another team with the no state tax? Maybe, but still, he's out west. We don't have to face him a lot, which is really, really good. So, a couple things I do want to talk about as well from stuff around the league is the Rangers. Obviously, they made a note to their fans. It seems like that's their MO. Whenever they go on some type of retool, they always like to send a note to their fans. I will admit that if a team does that, I think that's pretty. I mean, honestly, I wish there'd be teams that would do that more often because I think that just shows good communication. Because it shows a that there is a plan set in place, and the fact that this team isn't going to be in the playoffs, they need to go on a retool. So even though I don't like the Rangers, I mean, I commend them on the note. I wish more teams would do it because it really does kind of help their fans out. Now, here's the thing. I mean, us fans, we know that these NHL teams, the general managers, they could probably care less about sending a note, but the fact that they did to their fans, I think shows a little bit of appreciation. But obviously, Rangers, they have not been good at all this season, which I will admit, as a Canes fan, makes me very happy. Really, really does. But yeah, the Rangers, lots of, I mean, with them retooling now, you wonder about guys like Panarin. And I think news already has it that Panarin will not be extending with the Rangers after this season. And also, a couple players on the Rangers team might be of interest. Panarin's definitely one of them, I would say. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get him. Again, I think this is pure speculation, even though I have seen some things about us being connected with Panarin. But, I mean, if we're looking for a second line center, why not knock on the Rangers door? Like, hey, we've had Trocheck before. He played well for us. You know, again, I'm not saying they are going to get him. Pure speculation. But having a guy like Vincent Trocheck as your number two center, that's really good. It really, really is. So, yeah, so Rangers are officially on retooling mode. And you can tell the thing that really sucked for the Rangers was them losing their goalie in Igor Shesterkin. It's funny because this is a team that is known to have very, very good goaltenders. I mean, before Shesterkin was Henrik Lundqvist and a couple other goalies that were really, really good. And now you have Shesterkin. I don't know what it is with the Rangers and good goalies. They just always have a good goalie. But with Shesterkin out, they basically only have Jonathan Quick, and he can only do so much. So, yeah, Rangers really, really not doing good. But as a Canes fan, very, very happy. And also, this is part of the reason why I talked about NHL news here on the episodes, because with teams making statements like these, you just never know how that could be connected to the Hurricanes. Hurricanes could very well might be asking for Panarin, and that's why I report on it. Andrew and I report on it too, not just me. The next thing I want to talk about, and then we'll talk about the Hurricanes here, is if you guys remember, for those of you listeners who've been a fan of the Hurricanes for quite some time, like several years down below, or I would probably say, well, Tom Dundon has owned the team for several years now, but I would say to you Canes fans that have been a fan since probably when the Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup, even. Jim Rutherford, he was the Hurricanes general manager. Well, he is with Vancouver, obviously, right now. And he said that Vancouver probably needs a 2 to 3 year rebuild. And when I saw that, I was like, Rutherford and rebuilds? This might not turn out well. And like, here's the thing, Rutherford, do I think he's an excellent general manager? Yes. He helped the Hurricanes win a Stanley Cup. And I commend him for that. He got good trade deadline acquisitions in Doug Waite and Mark Recchi. But this guy does not know how to go through a rebuild. Now, again, he could learn. But again, I love that he won the Stanley Cup for us. But at the same time, he kept trying to fix a team that just was not playoff ready toward the later years or the last years of him being general manager here, which led to then Ron Francis being a general manager and having to kind of sort of go through a rebuild with this team. So we'll see how Rutherford does. I say 2-3 year rebuild. I say that's a little bit optimistic because if you're going to be tearing a team down, like trading a lot of pieces, then it's going to take some time to get back into the playoffs. So I say if you go through a rebuild, I think the most likely scenario is it's going to take at least 5 years, in my opinion. But honestly, I think there are many teams in the standings, and it is a little bit weird, even though I do think at the same time, if you look at the standings, there's starting to be a little bit of a separation. But I do think there are quite a few teams that are like, okay, yeah, they need to go through a rebuild. And yeah, Chicago is probably a team that's like, okay, we like to see playoffs or at least see improvement. But even then, you look at the top star players right now. Like that's the draft is how you get them. Macklin Celebrini with San Jose, Leo Carlson with Anaheim. Again, I mean, I know there are some teams that refuse to do retools or rebuilds, but I think it needs to happen more often. That's just my view. If you have other views, that's completely fine. Feel free to share. Feel free to email, DM, or whatever, the Caniac Report. Love to talk about it. But that's pretty much it for NHL news. Now, Hurricanes news. And there is quite a few news because you know what? We made a trade. Hurricanes get Kyle Masters and a 2026 fourth round pick for a 2027 fifth round pick that is going to San Jose. And I know there are probably lots of Canes fans that are like, why did we make this trade? Well, honestly, I think what Eric Tulsky did here was full on mastery mode. And just to give you guys some background information, every team in the NHL are allowed to have up to 50 contracts. And San Jose, they went up to that max. So they had 50 contracts, could not sign any more players. So Carolina, my guess, probably came in and be like, hey, we'll take one of those contracts off your hands if you give us a decent, I say decent, draft pick. So basically what happened is San Jose got our fifth round pick for next year, and we got the fourth round pick for this year, along with Kyle Masters, because we're able to have that contract. And basically what we did is we just bought a pick. I think that is excellent management for the record. The fact that you basically got a fourth round pick almost for free is really, really good. So I think that's a very, very good trade for Tulsky. Is it a flashy trade? Absolutely not. And like, who knows? I'm not saying that it will, but let's say we tried to trade for what we're talking about, the second line center issue or a goalie issue or maybe a depth defenseman. A fourth round pick, I'm not saying that fourth round pick has lots of value, but fourth round pick could do it. It really could. So it could be based, and I'm not saying it's that big piece. Fourth round picks aren't big pieces. They just aren't. They don't have lots of value. But let's say if the other team like wants a sweetener or something, that's that type of pick that you can add as a sweetener for a trade. So we'll see if the Carolina does anything with that pick. But I mean, fourth round pick for 2026 draft where you hardly had any picks outside of the first round. Honestly, I think that is pretty good. So the next thing, and this happened during the Florida game, and I'm very happy for the guy. I think he is having a rebound season. I think he's playing so much better. I even did an episode on him this past off season, but Svechnikov. He got 400 points in the Florida game with his goal, and I am so happy for the dude. Like Svechnikov, we know this is a player that has a lot of potential. Do I think he has potential to be a 40-goal scorer? No. And I've said that multiple times. But do I think he can be maybe a 25 to 30-goal scorer? Absolutely. And Svechnikov, he's on a heater right now. I mean, he's made two honestly incredible games. Hat trick against New Jersey and a goal in the massacre against Florida. So, I mean, Svechnikov, really, really strong season from him. Very, very happy. He basically, I mean, take out the first 8 games where he wasn't getting any points. I mean, he's almost, if he isn't, point per game. So I just love Svechnikov's season. It's so much better compared to last season and previous seasons too. So the next thing I want to talk about, and then we'll get to a sponsor, and then I'll recap the games, is the injury list, because we do have a couple of injuries. Carrier is still out, and Ghost is out. Don't really know what's exactly wrong with them, but obviously we know when there's a defenseman that gets hurt, we always bring up Joel Nystrom. And I mean, at this point, like, who else would you rather bring up? Like, Nystrom has played amazing. So, yeah, I'm like, oh, a defenseman got hurt. Yeah, we're going to probably see Nystrom at some point. But the Hurricanes, I mean, I think that just shows they have very good defensive depth. Like, once we get back to being fully healthy on the blue line, the fact that you can have two defensemen that can be ready to play if one of them gets hurt is amazing. And to be honest, like, I know there might be some Canes fans or journalists or whatever that might think the Hurricanes need another defenseman. I don't think they. Here's the thing: when it comes to depth, you can never have too much of it. But at the same time, you got to set your priorities. And I think there are other priorities that we've talked about, second line center, goaltending, that need to be addressed more than just getting another depth defenseman. So, again, priorities. So that's pretty much it for news around the league. Lots of news around the league and the Hurricanes. Now I'm going to get to a sponsor, and then I will recap the Florida and the New Jersey game. Every yard, every sack, every interception, and every touchdown. With Pick 6, DraftKings' newest game, every snap can turn into a big-time payout. This isn't just watching the game. This is playing to win. Here's how it works. Pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. The better your picks, the bigger your payout. It's that simple. And here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in Pick 6 credits with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. You know the game. Now make it pay. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. Play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call, ride the upside, in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus, age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer. Wow. The Florida game. Yeah, I'm still surprised they scored 9 goals against Florida. Heading into this game, I mean, we know this was going to be an emotional game, both from a fan standpoint and from a player standpoint. Now, obviously, if you guys remember, the game before this was a bit of a stinker with St. Louis. And I will say, did not like Jordan Stahl's comment after the St. Louis game and the fact that we thought we had an easy game heading in. No, there are no easy games. Are there teams that are a little bit more beatable than others? Maybe. But still, you got to put your hard work. So, yeah, I didn't really like that comment from Jordan Stahl after the St. Louis game. But you know what? That is water under the bridge. Your focus right now is against a team who has been the demon on this team's back. We know Florida, the way they play, it seems like the Hurricanes just can't handle it. And I know Florida's beaten. I mean, they have lots of injuries already. You have Barkov out, Matthew Tkachuk, who we all speculated might have played this game. And I also had Brad Marchand out, Seth Jones out. Like, this is a team that is not at full strength. So I do realize that. But regardless, and again, I kind of agree with what Adam says. With the way how they play, they can still beat anybody, regardless of the players that are on the ice. Because they are that. I mean, I'll credit Paul Maurice. They're that well coached. So we know, regardless of who is on the ice for Florida, this was going to be a tough, emotional game. And honestly, first period, Carolina played, I thought, pretty good. Now, I will tell you guys one thing about this game. I had to recap. I had to watch a recap of this game and also just trying to do my homework on it because I did not watch it. I was on a trip this past weekend. I watched a little bit more of the New Jersey game. So, yeah, I was just listening to this game on the radio. And I can tell you this right now. For those of you who have not listened to a Hurricanes game through the radio, you kind of have to rely on the people that you are hearing because your vision is taken away. You can't watch the game. So you really have to rely on the analysis of what's on the ice. So listening to radio and watching on TV, I'm telling you, it's an experience for both, obviously. But back to the game. In the first period, you have Ehlers scoring from Stahl and Martinook. And I can tell you that line. When I saw that line, at first I was like, why is Ehlers playing with Stahl and Martinook? And then Stahl makes a gorgeous pass from the boards to Ehlers, who was coming down, flying into the goal. And what a sick passing goal that was. And I was like, you know what? I'm not complaining anymore about that line. And here's the thing. I know people are going to say, well, with Jarvis, you don't like him on that line, but you what is it with high school players now? You're not wanting to play on Stahl Martinook's line. Here's the thing. I don't mind Ehlers playing on Stahl Martinook's line because I know there's that chemistry there with Ehlers, Stankoven, and Blake. So, but with knowing that Ehlers, this is his first season as a Hurricane. He hasn't really had that player that complements him, like we know with Jarvis and Aho. So yeah, I'm probably am a little bit more willing to probably have a guy like Ehlers play with Stahl and Martinook, just because again he doesn't have that other person that really complements him like Jarvis and Aho do. So again, I'm fine with it. Was I skeptical at first? Yes, I was. But with Ehlers not only scoring a hat trick this game, but playing very, very well with Stahl and Martinook, I'm like, you can't change it. Because, I mean, like, even in the New Jersey game, like, yes, we won that game. Ehlers got an assist that game. Like, you can't change the lines now when you're playing this good. Just can't. So, second period, that was the only goal was the Ehlers goal in the first period. But in the second period, you do have a bit of a scare with Balinskis, I think that's how you pronounce his name, scoring. And obviously, I mean, to me, I do think that's probably a goal Bussy would like to have back. But I mean, if you only allow one goal during a regular season game, there's a very good chance you're going to win. So while would like to have Bussy make that save on Balinskis, the guy's played so well. And that save that he made on Carter Verhaeghe with his blocker was freaking gorgeous. My gosh, he played great this game. So, yeah, one goal on him, but you can't blame him for that, because if you can only allow just one goal in a regular season game, again, your chances of winning go way up. Especially when you score 9 goals. Like if you score 9 goals and you still lose, then that's not just on the goalie. It's on the whole team. So after that, again, a bit of a scare, but Carolina's playing good. They really, really are. We're seeing them making very good shots. And you also have Jankowski scoring from Nikishin and Riley. And I can tell you, Nikishin, he played great in that Florida game. My gosh, he really pulled through. I couldn't find it, but I know that there was a hit that Nikishin made, I think, in this sequence of him getting the assist on the Jankowski goal and the goal itself that he made. But he played so well. I was very impressed with Nikishin. And he's the one that just shoots a missile of a puck. Like he basically shot it into the net at 90 something miles per hour. Yeah, no goalie's probably going to save that. And that is just such a great goal. I loved his reaction when Nikishin got that goal, because you can tell he was smiling. But I mean, the Jankowski goal, that was great because he basically got the rebound from Nikishin's shot. And Nikishin, I mean, we know that was a great setup from Aho. Obviously, Nikishin, you can tell he took a little bit of time with his shot, but they were on the power play, and he could a little bit afford it too, just because Florida was just letting him stand there taking that 90-mile-per-hour shot. So, great goal from Nikishin, and it is 3-1 heading into the third period. Another lead that we have on Florida heading into the third period. We know about those leads, don't us, Caniacs? And I mean, it is frustrating because you just don't know if the Hurricanes are going to blow another lead. And I will admit, I think everybody was nervous, to be honest, if you're a Canes fan, because they're known for blowing leads, especially against Florida. And I mean, that's happened twice this season against Florida. And it's just one of those things where we're just like, oh no, please don't let this happen. And you know what? Carolina, they were able to come through. Now, they were a bit fortunate. But I mean, again, I thought Carolina probably played pretty good in the third period. And you know what? A lot of penalties went their way. And when I saw the amount of power plays that Carolina had in that third period, it did make me wonder. I was like, so did the officials, did they look at that second game between Carolina and Florida and be like, okay, we can't screw this up again or whatever? You know, it just makes you wonder. But regardless, Sveshnikov, he scores from Jarvis and Aho in the third period on a 5-on-3 power play. And that was just two great passes that led to Jarvis getting the pass off to Svetch, who was kind of all alone in the slot right there in the middle. And Svetch scores. He got his 400 point, which is great. And then you have Ehlers scoring from Jarvis and Svechnikov. Again, another 5-on-3 power play. And that was just a great play because it was a transition play heading into the offensive zone because you have Svechnikov passing into Jarvis. You can tell Jarvis sees Ehlers is all alone just because of how fast he is. And he's all alone too. He just has the IQ of passing it to Ehlers, and Ehlers gets the goal, and that makes it 4-1. And honestly, when it was 4-1 Carolina, I was like, okay, Carolina should, again, we say should because again, they had a 3-goal lead, and you just never know if they could blow it. But then Carolina scores again. And to me, this was the goal where I was like, okay, I can't see Florida coming back now. Like, I just can't. Being down 4 goals already, and you're almost halfway into the end of the tail end of the third period, it's really tough for Florida at that point. But Taylor Hall scores from a wonderful pass from Stankoven and Jankowski. That was just beautiful. Like, he had to pass that through both the goalie and the player covering Ehlers. Great goal. And then you have Ehlers scoring his hat trick from Stankoven and Blake. And when I saw that Ehlers got a hat trick, I was so happy for him because he's been playing so good. Did it take Ehlers' time at the start of the season to go in? Absolutely. That's just part of playing in Brendamore's system. But Ehlers, man, you can tell he is so happy when he scores his goals, and him getting the hat trick, I was happy for him. He is such a talented player that is just, he's so fun to watch. And I know I'm going to bring up Netches here just because they have sort of the exact same speed. The thing with Ehlers is he doesn't lose the puck. When Netches was with his team, we know he lost the puck a ton. And it's nice having a guy like Ehlers that has almost the exact same speed as Netches and is able to not make those costly turnovers. So Ehlers, I will admit, he's becoming one of my favorite players to watch. He's so fun to watch, and just seeing him getting that hat trick, I was so happy for him. And we thought that might have been it, right? Because it's 7-1, I believe. Yeah, 7-1. And it's like, that's it, right? No more goals. Nope. Carolina took that second game against Florida personally. You have Hall scoring from Blake. Another great goal. And then Robinson's scoring. I believe it was 10 seconds after the Hall goal from Blake. And Blake, he was able to take that puck away from Greer and just was able to pass it to Hall, who was all alone on Bobrovsky. And then you have Robinson scoring from KK and Jankowski. Robinson, we just know he's a burst of energy when he gets going. He showed that, and he was able to put it past Bob. Wow. 9 goals against Florida. That is insane. Also, another thing, too, kind of forgot to mention this, but between the 4th and 5th Carolina goal, there was an interference type of thing. I completely agree. That was goalie interference. I think it was Luosterainen that took Bussy's stick. I'm like, dude, you can't do that, man. So it was the right call from the officials. I understand why Paul Maurice challenged it because at that point, you're down 3 goals to none. It's like, no, I'm just going to challenge it to see if it gets overturned. So I didn't think Paul Maurice challenged it to think that he actually thought he was going to win. I think he challenged it most to be like, hey, there's nothing to lose here if I do it. So, but what a game from Carolina. That was a statement game from Carolina. And I was just so happy, which made you think just a little bit how well they're going to perform against the Devils. And in this Devils game, again, I actually did watch this game live, unlike the Florida game. But I think I could tell in that first period, like Carolina, they didn't put on a lot of shots. I think they only had like what 5 shots in the first period. But like, I mean, you scored 9 goals the night before. The- like I can tell that first period was more just Carolina probably just being emotionally out of it just because there was so much emotion that they put into that Florida win. So I kind of understood kind of just like the amount of shots that they took in that first period. I mean, it wasn't a lot. But again, I kind of understood just because you played the night before. It was an emotional game, probably drained a little bit, looking a little bit lethargic. But in the second period, like I think both the Florida and the Devil New Jersey game were both impressive in two ways. Florida, in the fact that Florida's been a demon to the Hurricanes, regardless of who's on the ice, and the Devils game in the fact that you just played an emotional game against a team that has had your number the previous night, and you come out and you still put up a hat trick and quite a few goals. Like to me, that's impressive. And obviously, again, nothing happened in the first period against the Devils. But in the second period, Carolina, that's when they really got going. Like they really upped it up a notch. And again, if it only took a period for them to kind of be like, hey, we need to get better after that emotional game against Florida, I'm impressed. Again, I really, really am. So, second period, you have Svechnikov scoring from Aho, and Svechny scores again from Aho and Walker. Just two great goals. Obviously, the first goal was just a great behind pass, or yeah, it was a great play from Aho for kind of pulling up a little bit there, passing it to Svech's driving to the net. He scores. And then the second goal, obviously, you had Svech scoring in, but it kind of squeaked through Markstrom. To me, that's a goal Markstrom needs to have. New Jersey, you can tell a huge problem for them is goaltending, but great goals from Svech. You can tell he's on a heater right now. Hopefully that continues against Buffalo. But 2 goals already, you're up. And then in the third period, again, you do have a bit of a scare, but again, you're not expecting this team to play like they did the night before. You just can't expect that. But yeah, Myers scoring on Anderson. And I will admit, I mean, with Anderson, is that a goal that was maybe savable? Yeah, maybe a little bit savable, but also think you could argue a little bit of luck was involved in the fact that how Meyer shot the puck. He tried to shoot it twice. The first time it was blocked by Jarvis, and then the puck kind of came to him, and he was able to score on his second attempt. But regardless, Anderson, he played great this game. I think obviously, it's nice seeing Svech scoring, getting a hat trick, but Anderson playing very, very well is key to this team because if and I know it's only let's see. So New Jersey again, I thought he played very good against New Jersey. I think he played very good against Anaheim. So you have two pretty recent games that he's kind of played a little bit better. It's going to take more than 2 games for Anderson to kind of show us that we can put our trust in him as well as Bussy, or at least some trust. Because obviously, I know there's a degree in that word trust, and I think we trust a lot more in Bussy than Anderson right now. But it's nice to know Anderson can still put up a good performance like he did against Anaheim, like he did against the Devils game. So obviously, after that Meyer goal, you have Blake scoring from Ehlers and Miller. What a great play. Honestly, you have Ehlers passing it to Blake. That was a great pass, but Blake just with the Man, he just juked Markstrom out, and Markstrom couldn't do anything there. He was kind of left out to dry, but Blake just juked out Markstrom and was able to put it in on an empty net. What a great goal from Blake. And then you have Svechnikov scoring from Aho and Jarvis. Obviously, you had Jarvis kind of taking the puck away there, passes it to Aho, and Aho passes it to Svech because of how fast it was. Markstrom just couldn't get squared to the puck, and that's a goal. And I will admit, I think out of all the goals that game, that third goal, again, I am so happy for Svech. But that third goal, if I was a Devils fan, I'm like, dude, Markstrom, you've got to make that save. But you know what? I mean, we've had bad goaltending. There are other teams that are going to have bad goaltending as well. Goaltending is a weird thing here, as you guys can probably tell when it comes to hockey. A goalie can get hot just like that, and they can get cold just like that. It's a very weird position to analyze. But two great wins from Carolina. Again, I'm really am impressed in both games. 9 goals against Florida. Like, who would have thought of that? Like, obviously, like, I mean, obviously you have like the DraftKings sponsor, like I just said. Just think if someone actually gambled on that for Carolina to make 9 goals, that would have been insane. Oh my gosh. Because nobody would think about it. Who would have? 9. Dang. I'm very proud of this team. Really are. Do I still think that there are holes that they need to fill? Absolutely. But I am very impressed this past weekend from Carolina. Really am. And another thing too, like, yeah, they're scoring a lot of these goals, but a lot of these goals are coming from the top guys, which is really inspiring. Svech getting a hat trick, Ehlers getting a hat trick. And you have Jarvis putting up assists, Aho putting up assists. I like to see Aho probably maybe score a little bit more goals. But regardless, all 4 of them, no complaints at all. They are playing great, and I have great supporting cast with Stahl, Martinuk. Taylor Hall has been one of my favorite players this season. Just my gosh. A lot of good things from Carolina in these 2 games. So, great episode, and hopefully we'll see you guys Friday.